Shalom, Apostle Tahar, coming back at you with this truth, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakah Quadash. And I'm going to entitle this video, Yet He Shall Perish Forever Like His Own Dung. And this is from Job 20, verse 7. And this is, I guess you can say it's an update on the video I did yesterday, entitled Lahab, Elder Lahab went off concerning Revelation 20. He said that pursuant to Ezekiel 38 and Revelation 20, verse 7, that Esau is going to come back into power and gather the nations together and come against us again. And he said Gog and Magog is going to attack the Israelites when the 12 tribes is back in Israel after 1,000 years. So, I mean, if you didn't see the video, you know, I did it last night, and Apostle Gabar did a kind of response entitled "Once Esau Goes Down, he's never going to come back up to rule again. And once Esau goes, he goes. When it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. When it's time for you to go, you go." Inside joke. So anyway, I'm gonna make this quick. I'm gonna start. You can start the first verse. I'm going to start at the 7th verse. Yet shall he perish. Matter of fact, though his 5th verse, that the triumphing of the wicked is short. The wicked are Edomites. Malachi 1. Read that whole chapter, Malachi. And the joy of the hypocrite, but for a moment. Though his excellently mount up, so though his excellency mount up to the heavens with his planes, his helicopters, his satellites, his shuttle ships, his rockets, his Apollo program, his you have the SpaceX, and then you have Russia that's up there in the ISS, the International Space Station. If you notice, two Edomite nations are up there. The Russians and the Russians have their cosmonauts, and the US have their astronauts, and they work together. And they're up there at, if you believe it or not, in the ISS, International Space Station, and they're working together. They have to work together, even though there's war going on down on the earth. It says, though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head will reach unto the clouds, meaning what? Go back to Kitty Hawk. Orville and Wilbur Wright, you had a bunch of them Edomites trying to invent a contraption that can actually fly. And the Wright brothers, they tried and they failed, and eventually they achieved flight. So you go to the first plane to today, the fighter jets, the 747, 777, all these big major planes is what? That's that knowledge shall increase, which is the technology. The word technology is a Greek word meaning teach. So who taught them this? The Most High. They didn't figure this out. Trust me, they did not figure this out. The Most High gave them the technology through the angels and through dreams. When you read about the history of Nikola Tesla, it said that he knew how to create energy through electricity to the whole world for free. But the elite didn't want that. They wanted to make money off of it. Now we believe Nikola Tesla could be a Jake. Now he said he had dreams about it. He dreamt. I believe he had more than one dream, and the spirit showed him how to showed him that technology. You know, in a dream and a vision of the night when deep sleep falleth on the man, then the Most High sealeth his instruction. So where did he get those dreams from? He got them from the Most High, through the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the angels, whatever you want to call it. It's as though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. So once he goes down, he's going to go into captivity, and then there's going to be a point of time where we gather them together and we burn them. The Obadiah 1:18 them. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? He shall fly away as a dream, a bad dream, a nightmare, and shall not be found. Yeah, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. The eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. And that's what's happening right now. You know, they're tearing down these statues and these monuments of these Edomites that had slaves and so forth. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, going back to Alexander, going back to the Romans, going back to George Washington, just to name three, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, meaning secret society, the elite, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth. Meaning this is a secret, but the secret's coming out. Yet his meat and his bowels is turned. It is the gall of asp within him. He hath swallowed down riches. Whose riches? Our riches. And he shall vomit them back up again. The Most High shall cast them out of his belly. So once he goes down, he's not coming back up. So I'm going to give you one more precept, and then I'm going to close it. Like I said, I'm not going to make this long. If anybody want to add to it, you can go right ahead. Revelation 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having a key at the bottomless pit and a chain in his hand. The bottomless pit represents Europe. And he laid, I'm not going to go all into it, and he laid hold on the dragon, which is Esau, that old serpent, which is the devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. What time period that was from? 325 to the mid 1300s. So that's 1,000 years. That's 1,000 years right there. Then they started to come into power, and Jake started going down. One of the things that brought Jake down was the pneumonic and the bubonic plague, which was a plague that was sent to destroy most of the Israelites in the so-called Christian empire in Europe. Because the Esau wouldn't be able to take us down. We were taken down. As a matter of fact, let me do this. Let me do this just to get a time period. You can't know the mystery if you don't know the history. bubonic plague. Wow, bubonic plague in the US. I got to click on that one. When was the last case of bubonic plague in the US? The last urban plague epidemic in the United States occurred in Los Angeles from 1924 to 1925. I didn't know that. You see that region right there? There was a bunch of people that suffered the bubonic plague. Bubonic plague. I want to get a year. Bubonic plague is an infection spread mostly to humans by infected fleas that travel on rodents, called the Black Death. It killed millions of Europeans, which were Jakes, during the Middle Ages. There's not too much said about the Middle Ages. When you go into Esau's history, the Middle Ages, also medieval times, they'll pretty much tell you, if you look it up, that that was a dark time. There was not too much happening. You know why they said that? Because Jake was ruling. Okay. It says prevention doesn't include a vaccine, but does involve reducing your exposure to mice, rats, squirrels, and other animals that may be infected. I want to see if I can get some more. Let me, so the bubonic plague is still here. Can the bubonic plague be cured now? So we know that was a plague sent by the Most High, Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rakah Kodash. It said, unlike, it was a plague sent to the Israelites to there's certain accounts where it says 2/3 of the people were put to death, so there was 1/3 left. And the Most High did that so that the Europeans, the Edomites, can take them over, because if they were in full force, Esau wasn't going to take them over. So the Most High had to, create an even ground, so to speak. It said, unlike Europe's disastrous bubonic plague epidemic, the plague is now curable in most cases. It can successfully be treated with antibiotics, and according to the CDC, treatment has lowered mortality rates to approximately 11%. So the bubonic plague is still around. There's people out there that's suffering from the Black Death, the bubonic plague. Anyway, let me come back over here. So that's the thing, that even the playing ground for Esau to take us over. Let's say some plague takes place in the US or around the world, and it kills 66% of all Europeans. Then you're going to be what? You're going to be the minority. So that's what the Most High did. So the 1,000-year period is talking about from, if you want to put an exact date on it, 325, when Constantine the Great came into power, up until the mid to late 1300s, mainly into the 1400s. Esau started coming into power. But it took, 100 some odd years for them to totally take over Jake. And they still didn't take Jake over fully. Jake was still in power in certain spots. Like was it King James? King James of Great Britain. He was a Jake. It says, and cast him into the bottomless pit, which is Europe, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loose a little season. That little season where he deceived the world again is about 500 years from the time of Christopher Columbus coming to the New World until this very point now. The curtain, the final curtain call is being called. This is the final curtain call for Esau. Hey, Michael Jackson said that. He had that tour, and he had a speech, made a speech, and he said, "This is the final curtain call." And guess what? It was the final curtain call for him, because he didn't succeed in that tour. The Most High took him out. Most High snatched him out the frame. And I saw, fourth verse, and I saw thrones, and they that sat on them, and judgment was given unto them. That's us. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua and for the word of the Most High, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark. So that's talking about now. It's not talking about the apostles in the past, Peter and Paul and James and John and Thomas and them. It's talking about the men of the Lord right now. Neither had received his mark, because they were never presented with a mark back then. The Romans never said, Peter, you got to take this mark, we're going to put you to death. It's talking about now. Everything is reincarnated. The true men of the Lord are back here today, upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they live and reign with the Messiah 1,000 years. And then it's going to, the kingdom is going to be turned over to the Most High, but we're still going to be ruling. That's going to be 1,000-year party that the Most High going to throw for us. I'm going to throw you a big party that's going to last 1,000 years. Then you're going to give the kingdom back, but you're still going to be in rulership. How about that? But the rest of the dead live not until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. So we're looking to take part in the first resurrection if we are part of the elect. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power. The second death is by fire. The first death, going back to the time of Noah, was by the deluge, the flood. But they shall be priests of the Most High and of the Messiah, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. That's a fulfillment of the Exodus. It's got to be Exodus 19:6. Somebody can put it in the comment section. Now it says Satan freed. And then it gives you the precept, Ezekiel 38 and 39, right? Which is talking about the same time. This is not talking about we're going to be in the kingdom for 1,000 years and then Satan is going to be plotting. And then he's going to come out with some sticks and beat the shit out of us and take the kingdom again. That ain't going to happen. This right here, the 7th verse. And when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loose out of his prison. So now you got to jump back to, because so we're in the 7th, right? We're going to be supermen and superwomen, and our babies are going to be super babies. We'll be able to see through walls. We'll be able to read people's mind. Did not the Lord, our Lord, read the mind of the wicked scribes and Pharisees? We're going to be able to read their mind. And we ain't going to be sleeping on nobody. Third verse, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut a seal upon him, on him, and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more till 1,000 years should be fulfilled. So 1,000 years in the kingdom, Esau going to come back and he's going to deceive everybody. He's going to have everybody. Oh, this is Jesus Christ. Nah, that's talking about when Spain was in power, when Christopher Columbus came to the New World, and he forced that wicked Christianity on the Indians, the indigenous people of America. That's what that's talking about. So Christopher Columbus came from one side of the world to the New World about 500 years ago. So 500 years in the future, we jump to the 7th verse. And when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. Meaning what? Coming out of Spain, the power of Spain. The power at that time was Spain. It wasn't Rome. It was Spain. The Pope was out of Spain. Christopher Columbus came from out of Spain to the New World. That's the 1,000 years being expired. It says Satan, which is Esau, shall be loose out of his prison. When did that happen? 500 years ago. Now it jumps up to the end of the 500-year period. So this right here, loose from his prison, is talking about, you can say, mid to late 13 into the 1400s. They started slowly taking Jake down. The last stronghold of the Moors was Granada. King Obaido, I hope I'm saying his name right. He was the last sovereign king of the Moors. It says, and the Moors were Israelites anyway, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. When did it start? With Christopher Columbus bringing the cross, telling them about Caesar Borgia, and if they don't worship Caesar Borgia, they're going to be put to death. Then it jumps to now, Gog and Magog, which is right now Russia, Meshach and Tubal, that region. You got Turkey, you got Germany, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. This is getting ready to happen. The prelude is what's happening over there in Russia with Ukraine. So you don't understand, that's an 8-year war. That's been going on since 2014. You think the Russians just declared war on them? That war has been going on since 2014. Look it up. And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints. The camp of the saints are two things. The camp of the saints is the land of Israel, and it's also the Israelites. So they're going to look to destroy us, and they're going to look to take the land. And that's a fulfillment of Ezekiel 38. When it says they're going to come against Israel, it's talking about the land of Israel. Meanwhile, we're scattered throughout the whole planet, mainly in America. The deliverance is going to come out of America. And the beloved city is Jerusalem, Israel, Palestine, but it's also the people. It's also the people. Isaiah 52 tell you that. And fire came down from the Most High out of heaven and devoured them. That's what. What is the fire? The fire is the fire from the missiles. And the devil, Esau, the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan that deceived them, was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, this nuclear destruction, where the beast and the false prophets are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And then the Most High is going to judge and set up the children of Israel. So, you know, the Elder Lahab should have really, you know, proofread that. He should have went over it before he went on that show, because he was clearly wrong. Anyway, like I said, I was gonna make this short. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.